What's up?
Oh, I'm just compiling all the top sports scores, news, and odds so I can make the very best bets.
Me too. BetOnline.ag.
Join today and receive your 50% welcome bonus at betonline.ag.
Welcome back to our draft preview series. I'm Alex Barth. He's Evan Lazar. We're switching over to the defense today, getting started on the defensive line. But before we get to that, I want to remind you this segment is brought to you by betonline.ag. Go to clnsmedia.com/win and use the promo code CLNS50 for 50% cash back. Evan, the Patriots defensive line is going to look pretty different in 2019. Trey Flowers, the big name, he's gone. He's in Detroit, but you're also looking at replacing guys like Malcom Brown, like Adrian Claiborne, all over that line. Yeah. So before we get into names, what do you think is the priority for the Patriots? They could very well address both, but interior or outside guy on the defensive line, what do you think the Patriots are looking at a little more closely, or with a little more urgency?
I think it's the interior guys, because really the Patriots like to kind of draft a certain type with the defensive line. They're not really a team that goes for the, small edge guys. The guys that are 260 pounds that scream off the edge. Right. It's not really their thing, because they want to set the edge. They want to have a hard edge. It's a big part of their run defense scheme. So that's a big part of their whole defense as a whole. So a lot of the edge guys, too, they tend to put like Dante Hightower and Kyle Van Noy almost in like an edge role where they're standing up in two-point stances on the edge. Those guys kind of project to me as edge guys or as part of that equation. They also have John Simon. They have Derek Rivers, who I'm still not giving up hope for as well. So I think that they're okay at edge. It's more the interior.
All right, so let's talk about the interior of that defensive line and this draft class. Give me a couple names to keep an eye on.
So in the first round, the biggest name, I think, is either Clelin Ferrell out of Clemson or Jerry Tillery out of Notre Dame. And I want to talk about Tillery because I think that this guy's an absolute stud. Yep. I think he's a first-round grade for me. He's a first-round pick all day, every day. And I think the two biggest things with him that stand out are he just checks all of the Patriots' boxes. His size, length, and speed and agility. Check, 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 right? And that's like exactly what they look for in their defensive linemen. He also has great fundamentals and technique. You talk a lot about it in the scouting community of hands above eyes, right? That leverage point and really getting an upward movement towards the offensive lineman to push guys backwards. That's Jerry Tillery. Go turn on the tape against Stanford. He had 4 sacks. He had a bunch more QB hits and pressures in that game as well. One of the best tapes of any prospect I've watched in this draft.
All right, now on the edge, like you said, the Patriots, they do have some depth there between guys like Derek Rivers, like you mentioned. I think Dietrich Wise could be due for a big season, John Simon. But I think they've drafted an edge guy relatively high, the last 2 years, 3 years? This is a position they like to attack. Let's say they do go that route this year. They do bring in somebody else on the edge, maybe to help replace the loss of Trey Flowers. Sure. Who are you looking at?
So I think it depends on what you call him, but BC's Zach Allen is a really good player. Okay. He's just a good football player. He's the type of guy that might not wow you with like these screaming moves.
So just to be, depending on what you call him, you're talking about linebacker versus defensive line, right?
I'm talking about interior or outside. So the thing about like Zach Allen, and I actually talked about this with him at the Combine, is that he's a very versatile player, and he actually lined up in multiple spots along the defensive front for BC. He has a little bit of Trey Flowers in him, right? Okay. You can line him up over the center, line him up over a guard, or you can put him outside on the tackle too, and he's going to be effective. He really uses his hands very well. He has one of the widest varieties, the biggest toolboxes of pass rush moves. This guy's got every pass rush move.
And the Patriots attack that, right? When we talk to defensive players in the locker room here, they always talk about how they have a number of moves they can go to. That's something the Patriots are going to target. I actually really like Allen too. He's a guy, I knew he was good. It stood out to me the game against Clemson this year, right? When Clemson came up to Boston to play that game. The one thing I wonder about with him is, are the Patriots going to have a shot at him?
Yeah, he's going to be a first-round pick, I think. I think he's going to be an end-of-the-first-round guy. If he's not at the end of the first round, he's certainly going top 40. Yep. He's a really, really good player. Like I said, he's not, like, going to wow you, right? He's not Montez Sweat or one of those guys at the top of the draft that had this insane combine either. But at the same time, I think that he's like a plug-and-play starter for probably the next decade if he stays healthy. The last name I want to mention is Anthony Nelson out of Iowa, who is 6'7", ran a sub-7 3-cone. He's Chandler Jones reincarnated without the hype. Right?
All right.
So this is a guy that I don't understand why the hype isn't bigger on him.
Let me ask you, do you have the wingspan?
Yeah.
Because with Chandler Jones, it was all about the wingspan.
This guy's a monster.
Okay.
There's nothing small about Anthony Nelson. Okay. Right? He's not 350 pounds, so in that element, he's a little bit smaller.
Well, could you say he's from a Kamalu build? And that's another guy that's
no, he's smaller than Kamalo. I think he's a very close match to Chandler Jones. You know, that site mock draftable. You can go on there and you get size comparables. I think he's like an 80% match for Chandler Jones. He's the #1 match for him. And I don't understand why people are sleeping on this guy. He's extremely good with leverage, pad level, all those things fundamentally. He's a monster. He ran that quick 3-cone drill. He's the type of guy that the Patriots absolutely love in terms of just checking all those boxes. So I would really look for him on day 2 as well.
Day 2, like at the second, third round kind of guy.
There's some people that have him outside their top 100.
Really?
There's some people like me who have him in the second round. So there's a lot.
There's a wild card.
Yeah, there's a big variety of
definitely
opinions.
Something to keep an eye on. If there's any other names on the defensive line, let us know in the comments down below or on Twitter at Patriots CLNS. And make sure you tune into our next video. We're talking linebackers next. Just want to remind you, this segment has been powered by betonline.ag. Visit clnsmedia.com/win and use the promo code CLNS50. For Evan Lazar, I'm Alex Barth from Gillette Stadium. Thanks for watching.